Okay, guys, I apologize I can't be here today. I've got to be home with my daughter. So I'm going to take you through agenda for today, and this will hopefully clear up any questions you might have and also help you navigate. So I'll do the agenda, and then I am sad because I am missing chapter 18 of The Long Walk to Water, so I thought I could read it with you. One of my favorite things as a teacher and as a human being is when I read this chapter aloud and I see all the glints of recognition and the aha moments happen with my students. So send me a message as to about that. Okay, so let me take you through the agenda first for today. Okay, so you're going to go in Google Classroom like we did on Tuesday, the other day, and you're going to go to today's lesson, which is 11:6 lesson plan, and obviously you click on the video if you're watching me now. So on this post, it takes you through the attendance. The sub will take attendance, so help the sub out with that. And then you can go right to this video and listen to chapter 18. As you're listening, just like we did yesterday, kind of like a story time feel, you can highlight and mark up your text. As you can see, I went kind of crazy with mine with lots of underlining and lots of connections. A lot of light bulbs go off as I finished up the book. After chapter 18 is complete, you can go to the exit ticket, which asks you these two questions. How is the ending of the novel foreshadowed by the author in the chapters leading up to the ending? And number two, also, what are your final thoughts or feelings regarding the novel? What did you learn? What are your final takeaways? So be honest with there. This is more of like a journal entry response. The way to access this exit ticket, it's under the week of 11:2 to 11:6. It's the post below the lesson plan, so it's 11:6 exit ticket. So that's for a grade. Make sure you get that done, easily done in class. So once the story's finished, you do your exit ticket, then you're going to go to the 11:6 post, and you're going to open up Linda Sue Park interviews Sal Dutt, which is right here. It's a 28-minute video. It's very endearing. This is one of the first interviews that they did in Rochester MCC in 2014. And you learn so much about the relationship, what Salva went through, what Linda Sue Park went through, and you really get to see them as people. So while you're watching this, you can do this part independently. Pause and go to your viewing guide. So students in the class, that was the handout that the substitute's going to give to you. Looks like this. Linda Sue Park. So it's just different ways to take notes and answer questions. And those of you guys at home, you can open this with Cami and work on it that way. Okay, if there's time remaining after you finish that, you can go to Membeam, or you can go to, oh, actually, you know what I did? I did a forced copy for those of you guys at home. So if you click on the link, it'll ask you to make a copy of the document. Either way would work. And if it doesn't work, just take notes in your notebook. If there's any time remaining, you can go to Membeam, get your second session done, get that wrapped up before next week, or if you still need to do some IXL, you can work on that. Okay? So that's the overview for today. And now we'll get into chapter 18. So let's make sure you have your books out. I'll read it aloud and I'll take you through. So feel free to pause it as you need to. Chapter 18, Southern Sudan, 2009. Naya waited her turn in line. She was holding a plastic bottle. The well was finally finished. The gravel had been put down to make a foundation. The pump had been installed, and the cement had been poured and left to dry. Before the pump was used for the first time, the villagers all gathered around. The leader, not the boss, the leader of the workers brought out a big sign made of blue canvas. The canvas had writing on it. The writing was in English. But the leader spoke to Naya's uncle, and Uncle told everyone what the sign said. In honor of Elm Street School, Uncle said. This is the name of a school in America. The students at the school raised the money for this well to be dug. Uncle held up one end of the sign. The workers' leader held up the other end. Everyone else stood around it, and one of the workers took pictures. The pictures would be sent to the American school so that the students there could see the well and the people who were now using it. Realize I can stop screen sharing. Then the villagers all got in line to wait their turn for water from the new well. When Naya reached the head of the line, she smiled shyly at her uncle, who paused in his work for a moment to smile back at her. Then he began moving the pump handle up and down, up and down. A stream of water flowed from the mouth of the pump. Naya held her bottle underneath the pump mouth. The bottle filled up quickly. She stepped aside to let the next person fill a bottle. Then she drank. The water was delicious. It wasn't warm or muddy like the water from the pond. It was cool and clear. Naya stopped drinking and held up the bottle so she could look at it. Funny that something without any color at all could look so nice. She drank a few more sips, then glanced around. Everyone had a bottle or a cup. They were drinking that lovely water, or waiting in line for more, or talking and laughing. It was a celebration. Talk about mood there, guys. An old granddad, standing not far from Naya, shook his head. In a loud voice, he said, "This is where we used to gather for our bonfire celebrations. I have been sitting on this ground my whole life. In all those years, I've never knew that I was sitting on top of all of this good water." Everyone around him laughed. Naya laughed too. In a few more days, the school would be finished. Naya and Dep and Akira would all go to school, along with other children. Next year, there would be a marketplace where the villagers could sell and buy vegetables and chickens and other goods. There was even talk of a clinic someday, a medical clinic, so they wouldn't have to walk so far to get help, as they had to when Akira was ill. It was the well that was bringing the village all these good things. But the well was not for their use alone. People would come from miles around to fetch the good, clean water. Naya knew from listening to the grown-ups that the crew leader had made many arrangements concerning the well. No one was ever to be refused water. Some of the villagers would be responsible for maintaining the well. They would be busy with this new work, so the entire village was to help them with their crops and cattle. Other villagers, including Naya's uncle, would resolve any disputes that arose. The well would change their lives in many ways. I will never again have to walk to the pond for water, Naya thought. She wandered around a little, sipping at her cool, fresh drink. This is so weird. We're still in Naya's story, huh? Side note from a teacher. Why do we think that might be? I'll continue. Then she caught sight of the crew leader. He was standing by himself, leaning against one of the trucks and watching her uncle work the pump. Dep saw her looking at the man. That man, the boss of the workers, Dep said. You know he's Dinka? Naya looked at Dep in astonishment. The Dinka and the Nuar did not look very different physically. You had to look at the scar patterns on people's faces to tell the tribes apart. Dinka scar patterns were different from those of the Nuar. But the crew leader had no scars on his faces. Naya had heard some of the teenage boys talking about that, wondering why he had no scars when clearly he was a grown man. The leader's assistant was Nuar. So were most of the crew. They all had Nuar scars. Naya hadn't thought about it much, but she realized now she had always assumed that the leader was Nuar too. The Dinka and the Nuar were enemies, had been for hundreds of years. Why would a Dinka bring water to us? She wondered aloud. I heard Uncle and Father talking about him, Dep said. He's drilled many wells for his own people. This year he decided to drill for the Nuar as well. Dep had not really answered Naya's question. He probably doesn't know the answer, she thought. But now Naya felt there was something she had to do. She walked over to where the man was standing. He didn't notice her at first, so she waited quietly. Then he saw her. Hello, he said. Shyness flooded through Naya. For a moment, she didn't think she would be able to speak. She looked down at the ground, then at the stream of water still flowing from the pump mouth, and she found her voice. Thank you, she said, and looked up at him bravely. Thank you for bringing the water. The man smiled. What is your name? He asked. I am Naya. I am happy to meet you, Naya, he said. My name is Salva. if you didn't get it before, hopefully you just got it. So we have a wonderful ending to a wonderful story, full circle. If you think about it, he returned to help others after overcoming the conflict which helped to overcome a conflict that has been haunting them for hundreds of years, and really highlights some of the wonderful themes about perseverance in this text. And also, we know family was super important, and he's even going beyond his own family. And we have the great symbolic nature of water, how water brings life and opportunity, and in this case, peace. So I hope you enjoyed it. Take this time right now, go to your exit ticket. How has this Salva presence, how is it foreshadowed in previous chapters? Or how is it foreshadowed in this chapter, if you didn't get it before that? And then you can finish that up, do the exit ticket with your final response, and then transition into the interview, okay? I hope you guys have a good weekend. Remember to get any loose ends, MemBeam, IXL, work on those as well. Okay, thank you.